it going, Mike?
How are you?
What is a balanced offense?
Well, to me, a balanced offense is good mix of running it, throwing it, and then there's other ways to where you try to attack defenses inside, outside, down the field, intermediate, short, all that kind of stuff.
And after 5 games, how much do you think, or how close do you guys think you're there toward your goal of being balanced?
Still working towards it.
Kind of going off that, Mike, how close do you feel like Lenoris is to being the player he was last year? Did you see things in that Kentucky game that made you feel that way?
Yeah, I think he's yes, I did. And I think he's working every week towards getting better.
What was it you saw in the Kentucky game that makes you say that?
Well, he made some plays on all the down and distances, made good decisions, made some good throws, did some really unbelievable things that you don't coach, and helped us win a game.
Mike, what makes Matt Fuller an ideal SEC running back?
So Matt he's still learning and growing as we go. He's a hard-nosed back. He's hard to tackle. His style is still kind of, it remains to be seen because he hadn't had a whole lot of carries, but he gave us some tough yards. He, as you guys probably saw, every time he got hit, he was kind of going forward, not going backwards. So I think that, you talk about runners running behind their pads, playing low, and being able to take on, hits and tacklers and still be able to gain momentum after the hit.
With Mike Smith moving on, what were some of the things you guys have seen over these last 5 weeks or so that had the other tight ends playing ahead of him, playing more than he was?
Well, I can tell you about each guy. I mean, Brady, I think, has done a good job. He's very knowledgeable of our offense. He's smart. He's got a fast mind. He has improved his run blocking. He's got good hands. And really, like starting with the first game of the year, I had a little more juice after the catch than maybe what I give him credit for. Jordan's done a good job. He's tough. He's hard-nosed. He's getting more comfortable with what we're doing each day. Those guys both give good effort, and so they've been. And then Mo has done a good job too of coming in and doing some things that we didn't really ask him to do a lot of last year. And he's very explosive, very powerful, both as a blocker and when he gets the ball in his hands.
Kind of back to Matt Fuller real quick. What are some things y'all are seeing from him in practice that was allowing him to earn more and more carries as it's gone on?
Yeah, I just think he's gotten more consistent, more comfortable with his assignments, both with the ball and then without them. It's important to him, and he's one of many young players on our offense that keeps getting better and better. And sometimes you, as coaches, sometimes you're a little bit leery of putting a younger guy in there, and yet you still want him to get experience. Well, how does he get experience if you don't put him in there? And so sometimes you just got to, trust it and throw him in there, and then he gets better because of the game experience, which I think Matt has done.
Of Andreas Jacobs with having back-to-back 100-yard games, what have you seen him to have so much confidence in practice that translates so easily in games week to week?
Hard work. Yeah, and he's worked really hard and is very conscientious about doing things right and asking questions, and if they're not right, he wants to make sure that he gets it right, the next time.
Shane's mentioned a couple times that the running backs have left some yards out there. How big of a problem do you feel like that's been, and how do you coach and correct those kind of things?
Just like you do every other position. It's not just, when you have success, it's not usually just one position or one guy. When you don't have success, it's the same thing. So I think, I think you just coach as hard as you can on every play and teach and detail out the fine points of every play and show guys when it's good enough and why, and when it's not good enough and why, and then this is how you do it better. And then just make sure there's a clear communication, a clear understanding of what he's being asked to do. And you can do that through different ways, just practice reps on the field, in the meeting room, get them up on the board, draw things up, watch the video, and then game. There's the best way to learn is through game experience, as we know.
After Nick caught that long touchdown against Virginia Tech, how have you seen defenses switch their coverage, knowing that his ability to beat them over the top?
Yeah, I mean it's even in that game, teams they play him a little bit softer, but he's also been challenged too in press coverage. That was really the one time, if I remember correctly, I think that was the one time that they actually did come up and press him. In that first game, but yeah, no, he's they're playing him a little bit softer. Yeah, we get that, and he gets that, and just the things we're working on with him are just like a lot of other guys, just being real precise with your routes, being in the right spot on time, and making adjustments on the run, which happens probably 75% of the time.
Mike, correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't you play against LSU at Tiger Stadium?
Yes, you have a good memory.
I was about to say, sorry to bring up the bad ones if they are, but what do you remember about the atmosphere and how difficult it is to be a QB?
I caught a touchdown pass in that stadium. So, what are you guys laughing at? Maybe you got to go back and see it. No, I didn't have to run very far though. But no, I'm sorry. What was your serious question? Yeah. So no, great memories there, and just because of the atmosphere, and it's a really cool place. Now I know there's a lot of stadiums now that have gotten bigger and louder and all that kind of stuff. That was probably one of the original ones that everyone talked about being the loudest, and they're it's SEC football, SEC fan. They're passionate, and yeah, I think. I mean, they got great fans, but I learned about another team that's got really cool home fans too since I've been here, and it's unique in our conference, and it's why we, as Coach talks about, I'm sure he's talking. That's why we coach here and why our guys come to the SEC to play.
Shane mentioned after the Kentucky game that Lenoris got to the line and not necessarily audible, but they weren't run calls for him. This is how he was describing it. Tell me if I'm wrong. They weren't run calls for him, but he kind of got to the line, saw the defense, and chose to run. Can you describe his role at the line, how he saw those things, and when you guys are watching it on film, how you coach those things, or that's good or bad?
Yeah, no. So there's certain plays, yeah, sure, like a lot of other quarterbacks in college football, where you give them the option to whether or not it's before the ball is snapped or after the ball is snapped, to run the ball or to hand it off or what have you, change the play. And it's not free reign. It's not every play, but on certain plays where we try to limit it, where we make it a situation where it's pretty clear for him to where he's going to make the right decision. And then, because we want all our guys, especially the Q, especially the Norris, we want him playing fast. We don't want him having to think about a lot of things. So we want him, whatever those decisions are, we want him to be looks that we've practiced all week, and that he'll make a good decision on Sunday. And he's, as we know, he's very athletic. He's very talented. He's a unique runner as a quarterback, the way he runs. And but main thing is, whether or not it's running the football or throwing it, just continue to make good decisions that keep us on the field, to where we're getting first downs and staying on the field.
How would you assess the line's play over the first 5 weeks, and do you feel like you guys are progressing towards a spot where you feel like things are getting better and closer?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're getting better. I think they're just like every other position on offense. I think we need to get better, and we're not. I don't think we'll ever be where we want to be. But as a group, the perfect game is still out there. So we're practicing with those guys up front. It's been a different group, as you guys have seen. There's a totally different group on the field at the end in the fourth quarter of the Kentucky game than there was in the first quarter. So we've had some substitutions. Guys have done a good job. Coach Teasley's done a really good job of having guys learn multiple positions so they can step in all of a sudden and know what to do. Has it been pretty at times? No, but there's also been some times where we've done a really good job running the football and playing to keep away. I thought, our guys did a really good job. Now, maybe it wasn't flashy with, 10, 15-yard gashes, but, we did a good job at the end of the game last week when we had to run the football and try to keep our defense off the field and go win the game. And, I know we had the lead, but still there's some really good things that I think we can point to and look forward to because of what they did.